All right, here we go. It's been one issue after the other, but I think we're finally good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these questions going. Okay, so first question is from Snapchat, and it's from I'm Great 729, and he or she's question is, how/when did you decide to specialize in the 400, and what does a season consist of as a professional track athlete? Then the person went on to say, this one is for those of us who only see track meets during the Olympics. That's really unfortunate that you only see track during the Olympics. We are not the every 4-year sport. We definitely have things in between, but to answer your first question, I started running track when I was 9. When I first started running, I did start out as a 100-200 runner, and my coach then, Sean London, said from the beginning that I was a quarter miler, but the term that they used, they wanted me to have fun. So that first year I did compete in the 100-200. I did run some 4x4s, and it was kind of understood that, I would move up to the 400, but I focused on that. So the following year, when I was 10, the season of me being 10-11, that's when I moved up to the 400. What does the season consist of? We start training in November, so I'm currently on my vacation, but in a couple of weeks we'll start training November 1, and that's called our off season, and we'll train through January, February, depending on if you run an indoor season or not. That's pretty much, indoors is optional. It's not something that most track athletes do. I myself do compete in the indoor season, but indoor season starts in February, and then outdoor season starts April, and then our season goes through till September. So that's a season for a professional athlete. It's not just every 4 years, a professional track athlete. Okay, the next question comes from QD Richard. I'm guessing this is a guy, I don't know, but maybe not based on this question. Your hair has been done a million type of ways. Do you have a favorite hairstyle out of the many you've had done? And this person also has 2 questions. The second question, if you ever retire from track, do you plan on coaching or doing some other side gig? So, hair question, I don't know that I have a favorite. I go through too many hairstyles to know. I do know being blonde is probably my favorite color. And then having my short hair, honestly, is very freeing, and it's, this time around, it's less maintenance, but, and I mean, here I go saying it's less maintenance and I have extensions in. But when I cut my hair in college, it was a lot of work, and I had to style it all the time. I was a broke college student, but I had to get my hair done every week. I had to get my hair relaxed. Like, it was just too much. So now that I'm natural, even though I'm blonde, so my hair is processed, it is a lot easier to manage. So it's, being short is probably my favorite style because of maintenance. It's just so much easier. Short and natural, short and curly, kinky, whatever. Do I plan on ever coaching? My answer to that is always no. But if that's something that God has for me, and it's something that happens naturally, then yes. Reason being, I think coaching in a lot of ways is maybe even, I don't want to say harder than being the athlete, but as an athlete, you go home and the clock stops, basically. I mean, yeah, you have things as far as like your diet and staying focused, staying out of trouble, that kind of thing. But as a coach, it's stressful. I don't want to say stressful, but you have to be mindful of, how you're affecting people in a lot of ways. Like, I know that I've been very close with my coaches along the way, And I've seen where, you know, athletes sometimes expect a lot out of their coaches, and the relationship goes beyond the track. That, you know, whether it's they're filling in for mom or dad, or, you know, you just have a special bond. And me personally, it's no secret I want to have a family. And just when I think about family life, ideally it's not the profession that I would like to have as a wife and mom. But again, if it's something that God has for me, then by all means, then that's just what God has for me, and I'll deal with it then. But that's not what I'm planning to do. Other side gig, by the time I retire, it would be like my full-time gig. I see myself doing some sort of broadcast. I know for sure I want to stay around track and field, sports period, but track and field, like, I want to stay around. So I want to do some broadcasting, some commentating. I also love fashion, so I would love to get in the design/styling side of the sport. So maybe one day I'll be designing kids or even street fashion. I mean, I love that. And then of course, beauty, I feel like that's something that's a no-brainer. Like, I would love to stay in that area. So I'm kind of all over the place, but, you know, I wouldn't mind having my hand in a few pots. Next question is from I'm Definitely Nia, still on Snapchat. How do they choose who runs the relay at world class meets? That is not so hard, but, you know, I can only speak for Team USA, Team USA being my experience. The pool is selected from the top finishers in that event, i.e. the 100 or the 400. It's typically the top 6, because 6 is generally the number of entries that you can have, or maybe it's 8. I think you can have 8 entries, but then by the time of declaration, it has to be down to 6. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100%. But yeah, it's usually the top 6 finishers, and then you choose from that. 4 people can run in the preliminaries, and then you can switch 2 legs for the final. Typically, Team USA has a habit of saving our 2 best legs for the final. We try to keep them freshest. And I think that's what most countries do across the board, honestly. Especially if you're deep enough to where you have, I mean, Team USA, our blessing is our curse. We have so much talent that it's like, it's almost impossible, and there's no making everyone happy, because everyone is just that good and that close to one another. So close in terms of times and performance. So it's a lot of, you know, then they go back to the finishes and stuff like that, fitness. Yeah, that's how the relays are chosen. Okay, next question is, we're still on Snapchat. It's from Diva Moms, and Diva Moms wants to know, are you competing in the next Olympics? And what other races besides the 400 did you run in college? 800, 200. So, God willing, I do plan on being in Tokyo. I think I addressed that on my blog at www.natashahastings.com. Yeah, shameless plug. But I do plan on going to the next Olympics. God willing. I mean, of course, I have to go through the whole process again of trials and placing top 3. But yeah, I don't think that this is the end of my road. I'm not retiring. I am still going on. And what other events did I run in college? I did run the 200 in college. I also ran the 4x1. And of course the 4x4. When I was at South Carolina, if you didn't know, I went to the University of South Carolina. When I was there, Coach Fry, it was a speed-based program, so I did a lot of speed work, and me being fast in the 200 meant I was even faster in the 400. So we weren't afraid to get me down in the 200 and the 4x1. Yeah. Oh, there's another question here. Do your endorsements supplement your income during the off season? Very good question. Because a lot of people do ask, how do we survive, make money? And track and field is one of those sports where everyone, doesn't necessarily have endorsement deals. I am blessed that this is what I do full time. Pretty much most of my money, or if not all of my money, comes from competing. So yes, my endorsements do supplement my income during the off season. Jack the Joker from Snapchat also asked, what are your interests off the track, and how do you plan to build on those interests years from now after track? I think this is kind of similar to what I said earlier. I love beauty and fashion, so and those are things that we say post-career. I know 4 years is gonna happen really fast, so I'm working to kind of get ahead of that ball game so that 4 years doesn't happen and I'm like, okay, now what? So beauty and fashion. Beauty, I'm working on some things with I don't know if I can say that. Beauty, I would love to maybe have my own makeup line one day. Maybe even my own hairline. Extensions, I mean, that seems kind of a no-brainer. I've even thought about having my own eyelash line. I don't know if I'm saying too much, but yeah. And then, styling. I'm actually working on doing an internship with Under Armour. NFL and like other sports have programs where athletes can do internships, with the NFL or different, entities to kind of see what do you want to do post-career. So I mentioned, wanting to do an internship to kind of see what side of things I would like to be on. Because as I said, I would like to stay around sports, and me just loving fashion, it just makes sense to kind of stick to the sports apparel, if you will. So I mean, for me, I would love to see which I like better, which is design or style. But yeah, we'll see. So that's something that I'm doing to plan for life after.